What's going on? Coach Sean here from mindfultrailrunner.com, head coach at Orca Empire Fitness. Today, I'm joined by my little pup Oakley and our other pup, the Beagle. We're going to show you a little bit of some hand and wrist mobility to decrease both pain, increase some range of motion, and decrease sensitivity to things like open palm movements or excessive gripping motions while training. So first thing we're going to do is shake our hands out. So simply starting in front of your body and as if you had little tiny fires on each one of your fingertips. Now, shaking is going to activate some blood flow to the joints and surrounding tissues like the muscles and ligaments that run throughout your fingers, palms, wrists, and forearms. You can be a little aggressive with these shakes as long as your hands are totally relaxed. Now, once you're set with those shaking out and you feel a little bit more loose and your hands have maybe a little bit of tingle of blood flow, the next thing we're going to go into is some interlocked figure eights. So, pressing your palms together, interlocking your fingers. We will rotate which thumb is on the top, but you're simply going to try and keep the base of your wrists and your forearms together. Now, as if you're going to crunch your fingertips towards one side and then to the other. So this is starting here, just getting the rhythm of your two endpoints. So you're going to make these two positions, and then in between each, you're going to roll the palm that is bent up forward. So then I flip here. So I'm adding in this little rolling position. Now, if once you started to do this little roll or this figure eight, you lost contact between your forearms or it gave you any intense discomfort or pain in your forearm or wrists, please stop and just go back to that first method of just rocking from left to right. Maybe it was a little bit too intense to start off. Maybe your wrists are holding a lot of tension. And throwing that kind of movement pissed them off a little bit, and that's okay. Now, once you're set, shaking those hands out, the next thing we're going to do is a little bit of mirroring practice with your hands. So this is going to help your hands practice be spread nice and wide, and also extending past what you might perceive as their normal range of motion. So once you're pressing or holding your hands into one another, you want to provide a little bit of pressure. So I'm going to be pressing my pinky finger pads into one another, same as my ring, middle pointer, and thumbs. Now you're going to try and keep tension on all of the fingers except the ones that you're moving. So I'm going to start with the pinky finger. So I'm going to keep tension in my ring, middle, pointer, and thumb fingers while I just release and try to let my fingers move away from one another as if they were opposing magnets. And then I would come back in. So I'd do that 2 or 3 times while keeping tension in all 4 other fingers. And then I'd move on up to the next joint while keeping pressure on all my fingertips. The same for the middle finger. 2, 3. And at any time if you need to slow down or reposition your palms to make sure you're in a good pressed position between your finger pads, please absolutely do. This is not a game of rushing. It's all about just making sure you're set up and putting the best intention forward for each move. And finally the thumbs, diving apart from one another. Now right here I can instantaneously notice, and see if you can too, my right hand is my dominant hand, which I hold my phone in a lot. Now you can see that there's a little bit of a curve that my left thumb has that my right thumb does not. Now, I definitely have not done enough wrist mobility in my lifetime to counteract the amount of video games and cell phone usage I've had, but right there, even with a little bit of mobility, I've noticed that there has been a difference in the shape. My thumb used to pretty much sit right up upon this, whereas now I do have space in between. So these wrist drills do pay off. It will have to be some time invested on your end now, but little bits accumulate very quickly. So investing a little bit of time now and as often as you can is going to give you the best yield or chance of success in the future. Now once you're set with those mirroring images on your fingers, the next thing we're going to do here is some TV remotes and OKs. So starting with your hands spread nice and wide, as if you're going to grip a TV remote, you're going to try and bring each finger, starting with your pinky, towards the base of your palm. So first I would move both pinkies toward the base of my palm, then both ring fingers, middle, pointer, and then my thumb stepping on top. The reason this gets the TV remote stance is because it looks like you're about to hold a remote and click a button. Now then to go to your OK fingers, we're going to do that in the reverse order. So thumbs open, pointers, middle, ring, pinkies stretched open as wide as you possibly can, and then the reverse order. So now I'm going to start with my thumbs, trying to bring them to the outside border of my palm. So thumb wraps across, pointer finger wraps down, ring finger, middle finger, ring finger, and pinky. So we're in a closed fist with our thumb tucked underneath. You might feel a little stretch through the top of the thumb right here. If you'd like to enhance that, what you're going to do is from this position, try to point your thumbs down towards the floor. All right? You can do small little cycles with that. Then once you're ready to go back into your TV remote, in the reverse order, pinkies, ring, opening up to wide palms, and then stacking pinky to thumb, open, thumb, to pinky. So I advise taking this slow at first, and then you can increase the fluidity of movement as you gain a little bit of coordination and control. But this can be a very valuable tool to keep in your arsenal as far as freeing up some texting, typing, or even excessive holding hands and fingers. Now, the final piece here is to utilize that space and warmth and fluidity built in your wrist joints to go open palm and really get a long stretch on the muscles and structures in the forearm. So I'm going to go ahead and turn sideways here so you can see just where my hands are positioned in ordinance to the body. But I'm going to attempt to go fingertips towards my body and then press my palms down into the floor. Now, if this is already an edge for you and you can't seem to get your base of your palms down, you're stuck in a position like this, for now, you could definitely go palms flat, fingers forward. Again, trying to spread those hands as wide as possible. And you're just going to replicate the movement, just rocking forwards rather than backwards in this next position. So again, if you're with me, we're going to have fingertips towards us, hands spread wide, base of the wrists facing away. And you can start leaning a little bit forward until you ease into it, but all you want to do here is simply rock your weight backwards and forwards. Little tiny gentle movements at first. You're not trying to force anything. If your palms lift a little bit at first, it's okay. But you're trying to, again, think like you're lengthening from the elbow through the floor. So you're trying to get release of tension through all the way out, not just in the wrist itself, but all the structures that attach down into the wrist as well. Now, on top of just rocking back, you can take little oscillations, melting onto one thumb, onto the other thumb to get a little bit extra stretch through the palm itself. But all you're trying to do here is breathe. Little bits, again, go a long way. You don't need to stay here for 5 to 10 minutes at a time. Just break up some of your excessive holding of a phone or keyboard with just a little bit of some open palm movement.